Hi, King Dan here. This video is called Family and Free Market, Absolute Sexy Business. In this particular crosswalk, I'm going to focus on the highlighted areas. So the sexual union continues the lineage in a family environment, and then in the free market, the transaction, the economic transaction, continues the existence of that organization and lineage. So in the family side, the family ends up sharing the same lineage as a result, and in the free market, the supply chain and the overall industry shares a direct lineage, ultimately going back to God. All right, absolute sexy business. This slide is basically an inspiration I had when I could correlate absolute sex and business sex together. And it came when I watched Mark Gungor's Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage series. And in that series, he showed a kind of a cyclical pattern similar to Love and Respect, but he focused on the emotional needs and the sexual needs of the husband and wife, which in this case I can parallel to the producer-consumer relationship in a free market. So, in an absolute sex environment, the husband is responsible for satisfying the wife's emotional needs, and then the wife is responsible for satisfying the husband's sexual needs. They both have different needs that the spouse can actually respond to and support. If we look at the distortion of this relationship, we can see through history that the husband is often sex seeking, dominating, and there is a historical bias of chauvinism. Men get their needs served, and it's all about the men's sexual dominance. But we also can see the similar pattern in the wife's side. There's a wife being emotionally demanding, only looking to have her emotions satisfied. And there's also the historical bias of women being the victims. If we look at this parallel in the business or the free market side of business sex, then the producer is responsible for satisfying the consumer's physical needs, and then the consumer is then responsible for satisfying the producer's financial needs. They have different needs, but if they can serve the needs of the other, then you actually have a functioning relationship. If we look at the fallen distortion of business sex, you can see that the producers are often profit seeking. They're only looking for their own profit or growth. And then there is a historical bias of greed in an economic producer context. But the flip side is also true with the consumer. The consumer is, instead of satisfying the financial need, is then product demanding. They're not satisfied with the current situation and that they demand a product. Okay? Like the emotionally demanding, like manipulation sense. There's also the historical bias where a consumer is innocent. It's the greedy big business who's really evil, the greedy producer. But absolute sex, this is why this is critical, and you cannot lose absolute sex as the focus of any other theology. Like absolute sex is the center of everything, because what happens if you can satisfy the emotional needs of your object partner, then the result is a win-win family expanding experience in an absolute kind of absolute sex family context. But the same goes on a more macro kind of national level with business sex, where the result is a win-win market expanding experience.